Welcome to From an Educator. In this episode, show number 74, Reigning Optimism. And that might seem different than my normal pessimistic views on here, but honestly, I may just be an optimist at heart. So I'll see you soon. Welcome back to From an Educator. I'm Mr. James, an educator, and we're talking today about reigning optimism. Not just optimism, but reigning, which is basically about something that is kind of overarching and basically that takes over. So this is going to be something I go into with one slide only. I'm doing a kind of a brief format. This is a late podcast compared to previous episodes. I think I just basically got into that mess of having something come out late previous 2 weeks ago now, I think. And I just, trying to get caught up in classes. And surprisingly, this episode was not going to be about optimism. It was going to be about being very pessimistic and angry. And I just thought to myself, what keeps me going? Why do I keep doing this? And what's different this year than other years? And it basically is this, at my core, optimistic view of what I'm doing and what I want to accomplish and how I think I'm getting better at doing that and how I think I'm giving better material out to students. So if you're new to this channel, if you're new to hearing this podcast, I am an educator. I'm an elementary music teacher, general music teacher, but I also have done other things, taught in other areas, middle school, high school. I've taught college students. I've done private lessons from age 4 to 94 for like over 16 years now. Dance teacher as well. Performer around the state of Maine, actor, dancer, and most of the time as a musician, freelance with several different bands, or I play in musical pits. And my fall is not any less busy, even though things in my state are like pretty horrible now for COVID-19. A few days ago, we had the highest numbers I think we've actually ever had, not even more than when it was like a huge thing, in January of 2021. And I think we had 760 some odd cases. And that was crazy. We had at one point, it was 800 and something, 850 or something, I believe the state had. But the fact that everyone's thinking it's, let's be lenient now, and it's not really a bad thing, and the pandemic's kind of gone. It's been coming back with like an average of like 667 daily cases. And I know that for a fact because I actually talked with Mr. Ritchie recently, and he gave me that fact. He had that in his phone. So it's an absolute mess with COVID-19 right now. And you may hear my voice sounding like I've been yelling a lot. Well, teaching 7 classes a day, every single day, 5 days a week, with just tiny breaks, a tiny break for lunch, and 5 minutes between a class so I can actually sip some water, which not always happens. That really takes a toll on your voice. And as a music person, I should be hooking myself up to microphones and everything like that. But my room is very limited. I have a lot more students this time. I have a lot of instruments that I have to attend to. And it's just a lot of running around and just wear myself ragged. So if I take a sip from this lemon water jar that I'm holding right now, every now and then, don't mind me. I'm just going to make sure that I don't lose my voice, because that would be horrible. So yes, the state is a mess. Schools are a mess. I mean, yeah, a lot of things happening in this area. There was recently a fire of an apartment building in a neighboring town, and three students that were students in my district set the fire. So it displaced a lot of people, and I think it killed one person. And that was not something that you want to read, especially since going into school every single day, there's going to be some problems. And it's not just with students, it's with staff. Staff are angry, and I can feel their anger. And it just, I'm upset too, because some people aren't really pulling their weight, it doesn't seem. And they're basically giving up, and you can see it in their eyes, and you can see it in the students' behavior. And we talked about this in a previous podcast. It's not something that I want to do, where I look at a class and I relate how the class is, the mood of the class or their behaviors on the teacher. But it has to do also with how they're being managed, and I'm one of several UA teachers, and there are many more classroom teachers, and they seem to rule the roost. At times, we're considered, as UA teachers, just the fun break for teachers. So we give teachers a break, and we're not classes that provide homework or anything really academic. We're just kind of like, hey, let's take some time to look at this. And yet I approach everything like I do, like I'm going to be teaching it at a college level. Although I scale everything for, to be grade appropriate. I just want them to get something out of it. So having so much education myself, more than probably a majority, if not everybody in my building, it's tough to not push myself to that level and want these results, and then to see those that don't want to put the effort in. It just, yeah, it's it kind of takes the air out of my balloon. It takes the wind out of my sail, but not really, because I have reigning optimism. And we'll get to that in a moment. I just wanted to mention that I'm glad I was able to bring this podcast into being this week, and that I didn't take the route of the low brow route, where I could be talking about how upset I am about so many different things. And I am. I feel that when Mr. Ritchie, who's part of We Are the Educators, the mainstay podcast on this channel, when he returns, we will go over some of these things, and he'll have a different perspective, and it'll just be more of a balance rather than just me ranting and complaining about things. Because here's the thing, I don't want to complain about people. I complain about ideas. And there are several ideas that I feel are not being met right now where I'm working. And I have several ideas on how to improve things, but I'm one person, and I also have to get a few people on board where it might take up space that they inhabit, or I just need help moving things and such. And just, it feels like a lot of my ideas fall on deaf ears. That's a cool little, that sounds like a song. A lot of my ideas fall on deaf ears. Da, 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 da. Yeah. Sorry, I'm constantly thinking like a music teacher. So anyways, let's get on with this. So reigning optimism. Now, for those that are watching the podcast YouTube site, you're going to see a person. It's a silhouette of a person during a thunder lightning storm, and they're basically on a ridge with their arms stretched up to the air, and lightning is striking down. Now, it's probably a photoshopped image, but yeah, can you be optimistic in a storm like that? I can. Honestly, I can. Everything to me has some sort of meaning, and I try to put meaning where there is no meaning. And I realize the fallacy in doing that with a lot of things, but I also realize that I need to give myself meaning, and I have to reinvent myself all the time. And so I am constantly looking for meaning and creating meaning where there is none. I mean, why are we alive on this planet, floating in, this solar system, in a galaxy of many, many solar systems, in a universe of many, many galaxies that's moving faster and faster away from everything else? I mean, it really makes you think of yourself as being very small. And you are, but every day you get better. Every day you can read something, you can hear something, you can talk to someone that can change your life completely if you let it. And I keep myself open for those all the time, those situations. So, reigning optimism. You can make your own reality. And I have done so this year. I have several different themes going on in my room. And one of the major themes is that music connects us to the past. And so I dress basically like I'm from the late Victorian and Edwardian period. That's basically around the 1880s to the early 1910s. And I dress like this. I'm starting to accumulate sort of objects and antiques and stuff in my room so that students can see them and kind of like wonder what that's about. And I'm tying it in with my lessons. And it's just one of these things where they all know I'm the weird looking teacher that has to dress weird. And yet at the same time, I probably look more professional than a majority of people in the building. Although for what profession, honestly, I'm ready to be a part of a boardroom, whether it's from the early 1900s or even currently. So that's one of the things that I wanted to bring this year. I want to do something different so that they can see me and see, wow, there's something different about this person. They're not just talking to me about information. They're dressing it. They're exuding information. They become basically the subject. And as the year goes on and I'm able to acquire more things, it's just going to keep, more into my themes, which is basically about the past and about, things that happened around that time, a little bit of steampunk, a little bit of secret societies, a little bit of, the search of knowledge, the birth of kind of like science and industrialism and things like that. And yeah, music and music in this country. So make your own reality. I've made my own reality. And this is one thing that keeps me going. If I just walked into a plain room, basically no artwork, limited everything, instruments, limited technology, and I do have pretty much limited technology, but honestly, if I had less than what I have right now, it wouldn't be conducive to me teaching the way I need to. I need to have a reality where I have all of these things, and it kind of helps me to do what I need to do and to get in that mindset. I mean, the things aren't that good as far as the amount of classes that I have, the amount of students in each class, behaviors, the management, the things that we have to go through. I have to make my own reality in order to be sane in this. And I see the teachers that aren't able to make their own reality are really hurting because they don't have a safe place to go back to. They haven't created a safe haven for themselves. And while I see, most every grade except for pre-K in my school, I still find a way to connect with everybody as best as I can in the moment and still find a way to connect with myself. And if you can't do that for yourself wherever you're working, that is a very bad thing. You need to find a way to connect to yourself. And that's by making your own reality. Doesn't mean you're crazy. It means that you're finding a way to connect with yourself and to find meaning in what you do. So I wrote on the slide that I am currently looking at as well, ignorance is bliss, but so is a curated view. So everyone always used to tell me ignorance is bliss. And they said, love makes you ignorant. And so, you love being in love and you don't realize all the person's faults and all these things going on because you're in love with this person and blah, blah, blah. Well, being ignorant is something I'm constantly trying to fight against because I'm ignorant of many things, but everyone is. And the more you look up certain things, you research something, the more you learn about certain things, the more you realize you're more ignorant about it because there's more things you didn't think about. But so is, as far as bliss in ignorance, as far as you can be set with understanding very little and be like, well, I worked enough for today. I can relax. You can also find bliss in having a curated view, which means in only focusing on certain things, right? I might miss a lot of things going on at my school as far as politics and drama and whatever's happening. If I'm focusing on what I'm doing in my classroom and how important it is that I get a certain prop, a certain activity together for students, I miss a lot of the stuff that goes on. But you know what? I'm in my own bliss because I curated the way I want to look at things. And that's actually really important. In fact, if you want to get anything done, you want to write papers and go take graduate courses, good. Get used to having a curated view. You need to be able to focus on that and get the work done. Curated means you're just basically going to narrate what you're doing and follow your own path, and you don't need to have others bother you with that. I mean, I have a lot of others that try to talk to me and disrupt what I'm doing during the day, and I'm able to push past that because I have a vision and I have to get that vision, realized every day. I do that. My classes aren't just me talking about information. They're choreographed, they're practiced. And I know when I'm off. I know when I've missed a line or something like that. And it's this is one of these things that if you can get yourself to that level, you can keep getting better at how you sell yourself or your subject. And it has to do with, curating what you're doing. And I wrote on the bottom of this part on the slide that others will join you. And so this is the one thing that is really important as far as the fact that I help others model. I model how others can be, and I help so they can see a model of how to do this sort of thing, because they see that I'm in this world. They see how I dress. They see me performing. I perform twice a week for students on different instruments, different musical styles. They see that I'm putting all this effort in, and I feel it helps to boost them, either their morale or give them an idea of something. And, it might influence others to do something where they make their own reality and help to curate their own views. I mean, I'm not sharing this podcast with anybody. Anybody can pretty much find it. But I am trying to be a model in my school for how you can be an effective teacher and also be an effective person that you want to be for yourself. I think that's a big thing we keep missing all the time. It's like, yes, we know we want to help the students. We know we want to do our jobs well, blah. All of that. Well, we want to help ourselves. We want to take care of ourselves. You don't take care of yourself. You don't take care of your health. You're nothing. Right? You need to take care of yourself first and foremost. And then you can keep doing what you want to help others. But you need to start with yourself, right? Make your own reality for yourself. So it's easy to be nihilistic, and everyone knows what nihilism is. If you don't know what that is, it means nothingness, where you basically think there's meaning in nothing, and you know everything's hopeless. You give up. But find meaning. You need to find meaning somewhere. Meaning could just mean making it from snack to lunch to snack to end of the day if you're a teacher. Finding ways to look forward to certain tiny things throughout the day, like eating, or a certain class, or a certain student, or a certain teacher to see, or whatever. Tiny little things as a teacher help you get through some of the most unruly classes, and it also helps you to get through each day where you can look back and say, wow, I don't think it was that big of a deal. I was kind of making a lot of something out of nothing. And you can be thinking, well, I shouldn't give up. I made it today. I probably can make it tomorrow. I mean, each day you got to take it, for what it is, and you have to just wipe things away. It's a new day. Tell that to students all the time. Yes, I know who they are. I know their personalities. I know they have a track record of disrupting the class or talking, whatever. It's a new day. They can change. And a lot of them this year have changed, and it's surprised me. And I haven't questioned it. It's just one of these things. And good. People will change. People get more insight into how they act. And at a certain age, they just mature, and things become less important to try to get the social attention of everybody else. So if you want to think like this and find meaning, and it's like you need to do this at a tinier scale, moment to moment will feel better than day to day. So people say, well, it's a new day tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. You can do this. I'm sorry for my constantly saying blah, 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 but that's my way of conveying that people will just go on and on about rehashing the same exact thing you always hear. Living moment to moment, not really an easy thing. I am a trained, but also I've had to kind of make it for myself, improviser, which means I'm able to make up things on the spot, whether it be in any situation I am in music or teaching or dance or anything else I have to do as far as a performance. And I live moment to moment. I honestly, I feel like I'm stepping out of myself and watching myself in each moment, and thinking about what else I can do and trying to enjoy how things are going. Because I do look for that reaction in students. And it feels better than trying to live day to day and just having one thing ruin your day and have it the entire day be washed away. It's just not a way to be. You should be living moment to moment. If it's a moment that comes from, like I mentioned before, snack to lunch to another snack, that's okay. You can still live from that moment to that moment, and look forward to those things, and make sure you can create those snacks and those lunches so amazing that you really look forward to them. Is it a certain drink that you have to bring to the school if you're working as a teacher or something with you, or wherever you're working? What is it you need that you're going to look forward to? Piece of candy, I don't know, anything. That's that little thing that really can help you out. Maybe in the morning you stop at a place to get a breakfast or a coffee or something, and maybe another morning you stop at another place, and you make that a schedule. Like, okay, on this morning I'm going to Starbucks. Other morning it's going to be a Dunkin' Donuts or the mom and pop place. That's a thing. That's a thing you can do. You can live that moment, and then have that moment carry you until your snack time, until your lunch, and then do a lunch once or twice a week and stuff, and just use your money to help you live moment to moment and find meaning in this. And this is not to get out of a funk. This is to actually create meaning so that you have an agenda, and having an agenda is a powerful thing. The experience matters to you. Your experience matters to you, and it's very important. And it's important that you create an experience that you like, and that you can look back on and say, wow, I really accomplished something. Not just for others, but for yourself. I mean, I hear all the time people saying that life is about being happy, and you should find happiness, and you should live for yourself, and only this and stuff. And as a teacher, somebody who actually works to help others all the time, I don't completely buy into the fact that I'm always going to be doing stuff for myself. I want to do things for others, but it's that impetus of wanting to help others that really pushes me all the time to being optimistic about everything. I think about how I can better myself, better my teaching. I make lists in my head of what I should be doing in class, in certain classes. I check my notes. I have a journal. I have a planner that I basically react to classes and what I could fix with them, basically. I have lots of digital notes. I'm constantly reading blogs. I'm constantly listening to podcasts. It's this constant thing and I like being part of that web of doing these things. It helps me. This experience matters to me. I'm doing so many things right now. I'm taking a class that's seemingly unrelated to what I'm teaching. I'm going to be starting dancing next week in a yearly production of the Nutcracker ballet, private lessons, gigs with certain bands. I'm busy, and yet I constantly am adding in more to my agenda because it's important to me. It's important for me to be that busy, because then the tiny little places when I'm not busy, I really appreciate them. I really appreciate resting. And tomorrow is my rest day from exercising. I exercise 6 days a week in the mornings, and I definitely need to rest. But I like the fact that I can look forward to that. And I do like the fact that I have exercised every single day. That's my win in the morning. I made an experience that creates meaning for me. So it's really hard to knock me down after I've already done something where I've won in the morning. Even if I get to the school at 7 a.m. and leave at 5 p.m. almost every day, I still have that win in the morning. And no matter how long it lasts or how bad it could go, I've done something for myself, and it matters. So this last little point, these points on the slide, there's just a couple little things that I had in mind that I want to put in. The first one doesn't seem like it's positive. It says all past dreams are gone. That doesn't mean your dreams of the past, your ideas that you wanted to do in the past are gone and you don't need them. It does mean that ideas, priorities you had in the past are gone in the form they were in. You've changed. You're always changing. You're always adapting. They're different now. And even though they look like they might seem the same, they are different, because whatever you get to as far as your dream or your goal, you're going to accept it a little bit differently, right? I could have wanted a candy bar when I was younger, and I still might want that candy bar now, but I'm going to appreciate it a different way when I get it. And that's basically what, your dreams come true. You appreciate them and you think about them differently when you've got more knowledge about, an experience about the world. So if you think in terms of that, if you're following something that you've been following for a long time, reevaluate that. What does it mean to you now? And what is it really? Because when you get down to it, it might be something different, and that's okay. There's nothing written in stone. There's nothing written down that says you have to follow someone else's dreams or ideas. Your path is good because you're on it. Bright ideas need new light bulbs. And that means you had an idea, just like a dream in the past. And maybe you're still kind of following that idea, but maybe it's time for you to ask somebody else about it. Maybe it's time that you get another opinion or look at it a different way. And that's a new light bulb. So putting a kind of a new focus in on what you're doing. I did that. I'm creating my curriculum again. I do that every single year. Look at everything. And I said, how can I distill it down to the basics and what I really need to get out and still make it fun? And my classes it seem to be going very fast. Like I'm going through a lot of things quickly, and I might backtrack on a few things, but I think I wanted to make something that was going to be fast and really be engaging, because I see students once a week. So I've done that, and I get better, and I'm constantly looking at new ways to make it better. And I am finding a few new ways. They're really interesting. The last thing, the question, how many can you bring into your fold? So I did mention you can influence others. Your modeling of, this optimistic view, this reigning optimism. How many can you bring into this? If you think like this, of these ideas, you can bring many into your fold. You can bring others in if they know that you're optimistic, if that you've made meaning for yourself. There's so many people who are looking for meaning, and they find it in places where it's just going to lead them down a poor path. And we've talked about this before in this podcast. And when I'm with Mr. Ritchie, we do it a lot. People that get sucked into pseudoscience, or they get sucked into some belief system that really doesn't fit them, but it's because they feel like people accept them, when honestly the people have a different way of thinking about things. You want to be optimistic at your core. That's going to help others. That's going to bring others in. But think about who can bring into your fold. Fold is in your close group, or just someone to talk to, someone that you can relate to. It might be a good idea to find somebody new once a week that you've never talked to, and, share some ideas, or just basically ask them for their ideas. I think that's a good thing. And it'll probably help you a lot more than it helps them. Well, thank you everybody for listening to this episode, watching show number 74. I had promised to get Mr. Ritchie back for this week, but once again, we are just very busy. There's such a lack of teachers and staff, bus drivers and such, that our day ends pretty late, and tasked with constantly cooking food and stuff like that to prepare for the week, and getting everything else I have to get together. It's so busy for doing sort of things like this. So we will hopefully be back in the next episode. I definitely want to get a decent We Are the Educators in, because we want to talk about something besides teaching and besides COVID-19. And we have some good ideas. It's definitely going to be something that might skirt on some politics a little bit, but everything's political now. Everyone makes everything political for no reason. And we do have to be optimistic. So what is your reigning optimism? You must have some meaning at your core. Is it family? Is it culture? Are there values that you have? You're doing this for something else, someone else, for your own pleasure? For what? Why do you live? Why do you do what you do? Keep optimistic.